Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Tamara Scanterberry, and I am here alongside my amazing group member, co-partner, Bailey. And today we will focus on strategies for managing unpopular organizational change in ABC School District. We want to make sure that we are very transparent on emphasizing that while budget challenges will create difficult decisions, long as there is effective leadership and again transparency, they can minimize negative impacts. So let's begin today's presentation. I will now begin with the challenges that will come upon having such unpopular change. And we know in the educational realm, there are a lot of changes that happen on a day to day basis that are very unpopular and very unclear on the back end. So the three major changes are administration reduction, grade level combinations, and class size increases. We want to begin by speaking on administrator reduction by 15%. This will now risk um, role overload and less guidance for teachers, less administration, less guidance for teachers, which will then bring more complications. Moving down to the grade level combinations and what does that look like? This is alignment of curriculum and addressing developmental differences by combining a second grader with a third grader, the maturity level, and what does that curriculum look like. The parent concerns that will begin to flow in about student needs being overlooked, let's say in a fourth grade class with first graders. Okay. Lastly, is the class size increases. Teachers will need professional development and management support as to how to manage, of course, the grade level combinations with an additional 10 to 15 kids. Larger class sizes may reduce engagement and achievement, which is cited. These changes were designed to optimize resources, but also come with significant challenges. Stress, stress. In these changes, leadership must balance financial realities with the need to maintain always positive school culture. The next challenges that will and can come of unpopular change in the ABC districts is with the teachers. We'll go through each subcategory and each stakeholder. The teachers will have heavier workloads, more stress, of course. It will reduce the quality of the instructional time period with the larger class sizes and the grade level combinations. For parents, of course, they will have their worry about individualized attention, safeties, what is the outcome, and all those things will trickle in, of course, alongside the teacher concerns. Our next stakeholders is, of course, the students, as their opinion and their feelings are always valid. They could have anxiety, they could have worry with the larger mixed classes, and they could also feel as though the support has become less with the teacher and administration. Administrators, as another stakeholder, very important with the reduced staffing, that's fewer leadership opportunities and capacity strains on who can become admin and who cannot. And then moving, of course, to our stakeholders in the community. Will have fears of declining reputation and long-term educational quality. What's the back end of this? Okay. And to cite Fallon, the resistance increases when stakeholders feel excluded from change and change just happen and there's no transparency nor communication. Moving into staff morale strategies, there are two. The first strategy that we have for staff morale is climate surveys and feedback loops. These two things coincide with each other. Research shows that regular surveys identify stressors and morale shifts. Implementation, you can have quarterly surveys, or if you feel as though they need to have them more regularly, that is also an idea. Anonymous comment box, maybe in the teacher's lounge, maybe in the front office, to where those anonymous comments can be in the box. Also, follow up staff meeting. How are things going? How are you feeling? Etc. The effect of this then, staff feel heard and valued, which will then begin greater trust. The second strategy for staff morale is peer support and mentorship programs. Research shows teacher collaboration improves retention and morale across the building and improves culture. The implementation of this is pair new struggling teachers with mentors. New teacher get paired with a mentor, struggling teachers get paired with a mentor as well, which will create PLC time. The results and the effects of this is increased collaboration across the school and decreased isolation, which will then lead to less resilience during change. One of two strategies for students' well-being is SEL, which stands for Social Emotional Learning. Research proves that SEL improves student engagement and reduce stress, which is our number one key to reduce stress and keep the students engaged. To implement this, there can be morning meetings, afternoon meetings, check in surveys, mindfulness breaks, an abundant amount of things that you can do inside the classroom around the school building to make sure SEL is being done and being done with fidelity to make sure the students' well being is a check. The effect of this and the result will then have students build resilience and coping skills with the new changes. And the second strategy for student well-being is access to counseling and wellness support. The research goes to prove that access to school counselors supports academic and emotional growth. Having that person there for the scholars to be able to communicate with will then turn around and support them academically, but also grow them emotionally. The implementation of this is small groups. Have a drop-in office hour posted on the window to where the scholars and the students know, hey, I can drop in here and speak with the counselor, etc. Also, partnerships with community agencies. So you have those outside forces as well. And the results and effects of this is students feel safe, students feel supported, and that's what we need.
Research shows that clear and consistent communication reduces resistance during difficult changes. Cotter and Burke both emphasize that tailoring the message to the audience helps build understanding and trust. The goal is here to make sure all stakeholders understand the why behind the changes and recognize that the district's values remain the same. To achieve this, we use multiple communication channels like town halls, newsletters, and staff meetings. We'd also adapt the level of detail. Staff would see financial data, parents would get simplified updates, and students would receive age appropriate explanations. Finally, we'd frame the changes as steps to protect equity and long term quality in education. Involving stakeholders in the process is another way to reduce resistance. Research by Ingersoll and Leithwood shows that the advisory input fosters a shared ownership of decisions. Our intended effect here is to make sure stakeholders feel included, not sidelined. We create advisory committees that include teachers, parents, students, and gather feedback through surveys and focus groups. To build trust, we'd also commit to publicly sharing the results of the feedback and the actions the district takes in response. Recognition is a powerful motivator. DeFore and Eaker highlight that acknowledging contributions help people remain resilient in the face of challenges. The intended effect here is to make both staff and students feel valued, even while navigating change. This could look like staff shoutouts during meetings, monthly awards, student spotlight features in newsletters, and moments in meetings where we highlight creativity and adaptability. Small gestures and recognition go a long way in sustaining morale. By recognizing individuals, it is also important to celebrate collective progress. Research by Hoy and Mescal shows that celebrating success builds pride in the community and reinforces a shared vision. We do this by holding assemblies to share small wins, publishing newsletters that highlight success stories, and even hosting community events to celebrate collaboration. These celebrations remind everyone that progress is happening and they are part of something larger. Maintaining positive momentum requires more than one time actions. Michael Fullen emphasizes that an equity lens is essential to sustain trust and leadership. The intended effect here is to keep change aligned with student success and long term sustainability. Leaders can do this by monitoring morale and climate continuously, adjusting policies with equity in mind, and revisiting goals regularly with both staff and the community. This keeps the change process responsive and student centered. Cotter notes that shared responsibility strengthens both climate and morale. Our intended effect here is to create a culture of trust, transparency, and collaboration. To do this, leaders must remain visible and approachable, encourage shared decision making, and continually reinforce the district's shared purpose through open communication. When people see that their voices matter, they're more willing to invest in the change process. This slide uses a social emotional learning or SEL diagram to highlight how schools can manage change. Research by Durlock et al. 2011 shows SEL improves student engagement and resilience, which helps offset challenges like larger class sizes. At the same time, grade level consolidation can be supported through advisory committees that build collaboration and trust. Leithwood et al. 2020. Together, these strategies strengthen school climates, reduce resistance, and assure student and staff adapt successfully during restructuring. And here are our references. Thank you.